Hello everyone, very good evening and welcome back to CrackGradeB. So in this class we are going to talk about that how do we tackle with the risk and uncertainty in the capital budgeting related decisions, right? So first of all we have the decision tree analysis, okay? Now decision tree, scenarios, simulation, and there are a lot of techniques that we'll be discussing over here one by one, and what we are trying to understand is that how do we tackle the risk and uncertainty in the capital investment decisions. See over here, decision tree analysis, it is a useful tool for analyzing the investment proposals, incorporating the project flexibility. The decision tree method, it analyzes the investment opportunities involving a sequence of decisions over time. Various decision points, they are defined in relation to the subsequent chance event, right? So that means what? Suppose if you take one decision and that is interlinked with the another decision, so they see that what is the impact of this chain of decisions onto your investment proposals. For example, the expected NPV, net present value, for each decision point will be computed based on this particular series and their probabilities that branch out following the decision point. Over here, we do mean to say that once the range of possible decision and chances of events will be laid out, the NPV associated with each decision will be computed by working backwards on the diagram from the expected cash flows defined for each path onto the diagram. Now, the decision path that will be chosen by selecting the highest expected NPVs. Now, what do we mean to say over here? See this. Suppose these are the three kinds of decisions which can be taken initially. After that, there can be sub-decisions which will follow it, right? So, you have to calculate the NPV at each pointer. At each point of decision, right? What will be NPV over here? What will be NPV over here, and then there will be probabilities associated with it. What is the probability? What is the probability? Alternative decisions that we have, their relative probabilities, right? And for each decision path, what is the expected NPV, right? And whatever NPV gives you the highest possible result is something that you are going to follow, and that is something you are going to undertake, right? Next we have, this was our decision tree analysis, then we have sensitivity analysis. Now this is something which is important over here. Sensitivity means what? See, in any kind of capital budgeting related decisions, we have a lot of factors that needs to be considered on, lot of variables. कैसे variables होते हैं? The amount of financing that we will require, what will be our sources of financing, what will be the cost of financing, what will be the rate at which materials will be supplied by the suppliers, right? What are the contracts that we have done with the labor, contractors, right? Apart from that, what is the contract with the contractor or the authority which has provided you this particular work, right? That is also something. So in any kind of project, there are a lot of variables which are going to impact the profitability of your decision, right? For example, who are the competitors into your business? What is their business decision? So sensitivity means any kind of changes which might be brought in these kind of variables because one or the other market situations or the project related situations have changed. So this is what sensitivity analysis is. Sensitivity analysis in the context of capital budgeting means analysis of impact of changes in the underlying variables or parameters regarding the acceptance or rejection of the investment proposal. Now, if we do follow the NPV method for the financial appraisal, we have seen a lot of methods are there. ARR method is there, NPV method is there, IRR method is there, right? So, if the changes in factors or the variables onto which the NPV is determined, for example, what are the factors? What will be our outflow? That means amount which will be needed. What is the income that we will be getting? what is the discounting factor or the minimum return that we want. ठीक है, वो ऐसी क्या minimum return है जो हमको चाहिए ही चाहिए. Then what will be the life of project? If there is any kind of change in relation to such factors, अगर इन factors से related कोई भी change होता है, what is going to be the impact on our NPV? NPV is net present value. Net present value means the benefits which I will be receiving out of the project. Suppose if the life of projects gets shortened up, ठीक है, पहले ये था, it was decided earlier that 5 years is going to be the life of the project, but now the project life, because of the certain government regulations, it has decreased to 3 years. Because of its decrease, my profitability position has reduced. मेरा profit कम हो गया है, right? And this is what NPV talks about. That what is the net benefits that you are taking home. वो net benefit क्या है जो आप घर लेके जा रहे हैं? So that is taken into consideration while analyzing the sensitivity. Changes in each of the variables that will be considered one by one, and other variables they are taken constant. That means when impact of changes in cash flow will be computed, the other factors will be remaining constant. See, otherwise I'll not be able to guess that what is the impact. Okay? If I want to calculate that what if the life of the project changes, what will be the impact on my NPV, I have to keep all the other factors constant. बाकी के सारे फैक्टर मुझे कांस्टेंट रखने पड़ेंगे. दैट इज इनफ्लो, आउटफ्लो, डिस्काउंटिंग फैक्टर, material prices and whatnot. I will show the changes only in one factor, that is life of the project, and this is how one by one you will compute all the factors. आप सारे factors को एक एक करके जो है compute करोगे. That okay, because of the changes in this particular factor, what has been the change in NPV, and that is going to show the sensitivity. So how much your project NPV is sensitive to changes in life of the project. How much of your project NPV is sensitive to changes in the cash inflow of the project, right? So all such things we are considering in the sensitivity analysis. So similarly, when the changes in discount rate is considered, other elements, that is cash outflow, inflow, life of the project, they are taken as remaining unchanged and so on, right? The objective of the sensitivity analysis is to measure the impact of changes in the parameters on the decision criteria and identify the key factors or parameters having more adverse impact on the decision criteria. So in other words, sensitivity is the term that we use to describe the process where each estimated element of project cash flow is taken to see how much it can impact our net present value. हर फैक्टर को we analyze independently so that we can say that okay, because of this factor NPV is impacted this much, and because of the cash outflow related changes our NPV is impacted by this much. So if the estimated element varies by more than this amount, then the decision advice given by the original estimate will be incorrect. Now let's see the example of this. For example, if the NPV is 2 lakh, the project will remain acceptable even if the initial investment increases up to 2 lakh rupees, right? Beyond which NPV will be negative and project will remain unacceptable. See, if this is the net benefit you are going to derive out of the project, that is 2 lakh rupees, right? So it will remain acceptable to you if the initial investment increases up to 2 lakh rupees. But that means if your cash outflow increases up to 2 lakh rupees, you will be fine. Because even if it increases by 1,50,000, still you are having the benefit of 50,000. ठीक है? Even if आपका जो cash outflow है वो अगर 1,50,000 से बढ़ जाता है, तब भी I am earning 50,000 rupees. But in case my cash outflow increases beyond 150, right? Or beyond 2 lakh rupees, then my NPV will become negative, and that is why sensitivity analysis will say that going beyond 2 lakh rupees, if my cash outflow is going beyond 2 lakh rupees, then this project becomes unacceptable for me and I cannot go forward with this particular project. So if the original estimated cost of the project is 10 lakh, it can be said that the tolerance limit is 20%. What is the tolerance limit? 20%. if there is any increase in the project cost beyond 20%, 20% से ज़्यादा और बढ़ जाता है. If the project cost increases up to 12 lakh rupees, fine. If it increases beyond 10 lakh rupees, it is not fine, and our project is going to become, or the project net benefit is going to become zero or in negative. So it may be noted that while measuring the impact of changes in cost, it has been assumed that other elements like cash inflow, discounting factor, life of the projects, they are remaining unchanged. Now, why we have to do the sensitivity analysis, right? So number one is, this analysis identifies critical factors that impinges on the project's success or failure. It is a simple technique. Disadvantages, assumption of independency. In real life, all the factors work in one go, right? If one factor is changing, other factor is also changing. For example, my cash outflow is increasing, cash inflow is decreasing. So both are going to impact me in the real time, and the results would be more adverse, right? So this particular sensitivity analysis says that you have to calculate one variable one by one. आपको हर एक वेरिएबल का इम्पैक्ट देखना है, but that is not something which happens in real life, right? In real life, if anything is coming up to you, it is going to struck you all together, and that is why the results become more negative. So assumption of independence, that this analysis assumes that all variables are going to be independent, that is, they are not related to each other, which is unlikely in real life. Okay. Ignore probability. This analysis does not look the probability of changes in the variables, whereas probability is a consideration that we considered in the decision tree analysis. ठीक है, हमने decision tree में consider किया था, but we are not considering over here, and we should consider it because the uncertainty is somehow tackled when you incorporate the probability into your calculations. Okay, and that is something which we are ignoring over here. Now next we have the scenario analysis. So over here, we create scenarios, we see our expectations, right, how it is going to be. So sensitivity analysis is probably the most widely used risk analysis technique, but it also has its limitations, as we have already seen. So therefore, we need to extend sensitivity analysis to deal with the probability distributions of the inputs. So it would be useful to vary more than one variable, so it could see the combined effects. Now you see, both the changes, both the negative points of sensitivity analysis. So what? Number one, it does not incorporate the probability. Number two, it does not incorporate the changes in variables all at once, right? So these were the two negatives of sensitivity analysis, and we have tried to rectify this in scenario analysis. तो हम अलग अलग scenario बनाते हैं, that okay, these are the three scenarios. This is the probabilities of these scenarios. In scenario one, we'll be our cash outflow will remain equal, right, or will remain static. Inflow is going to increase. In scenario 2, my cash outflow will also decrease and my cash inflow will also decrease. In scenario 3, cash outflow is also increasing, inflow is also increasing. So I have made different scenarios, and I will see that what will be my profitability in all these three different scenarios. So while doing so, जब मैं ऐसा कर रही हूँ, so I have tried to see that if there are changes in the variables, what is the cumulative impact in the real time it will bring. ठीक है, क्या cumulative impact real time में लेकर आएंगे? That is something we are going to see. So scenario analysis provides answer to these situations of extension. This analysis brings in the probability of changes in key variables. Number one, we do see that what are the probabilities that my key variables will be changing. What is the probability that is my discounting factor will change? What is the probability and how much it is probable that my cash outflow will be changing or my cash inflow would be changing, right? So this analysis begins with base case or most likely set of values, right? Then it goes for worst case scenario. It also goes for best case scenario, right? And alternatively, scenarios analysis is possible where some factors are changed positively and some factors are changed negatively. It purely depends on your experience, circumstances, and how you want to predict it. ठीक है,
किस तरीके से आप इसको प्रेडिक्ट करना चाहते हैं. Different kinds of variables, what your expectations are saying, right? You can place those variables like that and then you can calculate the scenario. It is just like a movie. How do you want the story to progress, right? How do you want to see that if your experience is saying or if your judgment is saying that going forward we need discounting rate needs to be changed. So in that particular case you can incorporate the discounting rate related changes as well in the scenario analysis. आप उसको भी include कर सकते हैं, right? In the best case scenario you will assume that sales is going to remain high, sale prices will be high, variable cost will be low. Everything best you have assumed, right? In worst case scenario, what you are going to assume that where it is quantity of sale is also low, price of sale is also low, and your variable cost is high. So in this particular case, whatever we have assumed is everything is what you can say worst case, right? Everything is bad, and then you will try to see that what will be our profitability in this particular situation. हमारी profitability इस situation में क्या होगी? So in a nutshell, scenario analysis examines the risk of investment to analyze the impact of alternative combinations of variables onto the NPV. So whatever were the problems in your sensitivity analysis, we have tried to overcome that by doing the scenario analysis. Next we have the simulation. Simulation is a mathematical technique, right? We are using the mathematical formulas over here to find out the impact or the risk position in relation to our projects. Let's see this, what it is. So a simulation is basically a computer model. It attempts to replicate a real life situation. See, in capital budgeting, actually what we are doing is that a decision we are undertaking and we are trying to know that what will be the best possible outcome out of this. इससे हमारा best possible outcome क्या होगा real life situation में. So in finance, the simulation analysis is a model that is applied for analyzing the large projects. It examines how target variables will be affected based on the changes in input variables. Ultimately, all the kind of analysis, in all kinds of analysis, we are doing the same thing. Okay? Same ही चीज कर रहे हैं that if we will change the input, what is going to be the changes in your output or your profitability or outward results. So what we are predicting over here? So unlike your scenario or sensitivity analysis, simulation does not offer you a single result. It offers a range of probable outcomes due to the movement of variables. Because it is a computer model, it tells you that if interest rate will change to 12%, this is going to be your NPV. Interest rate changes to 15%, this is going to be your NPV, right? Along with interest rate, other factors changes, then this is going to be your NPV. So this is how they are deciding, right? They are giving you a probable result, not just one result, okay? Now simulation analysis, what are the steps in it? First of all, you have to identify the variables which are impacting your project. The variables that influence cash inflow, outflow must be identified first. For example, if a company is launching new product in the market, variables that must be considered, it should include investment, market size, market growth, market share, fixed cost, variable cost, price, terminal value and product life cycle. Yes, at the end of the day, all are these are all the factors which are going to impact my decision. ठीक है, यही वो सारे factors हैं जो मेरी decision को impact करेंगे. That what is the current market size, how the market is expected to grow in future, right? If I am going to sell this particular asset, what is going to be its terminal value? At the end of the day, what is going to come in my hand? Right? Suppose earlier I was told that this particular asset, when you will be selling it, it is going to fetch you 10 lakh rupees. But now they are saying that it will fetch you only 5 lakh rupees. So my profitability is automatically reduced by 5 lakh rupees, right? So I have to see that what all are the factors that will impact my profitability related situation. वो क्या factors हैं जो मेरी profitability situation को impact करने वाले हैं. Next is we will talk about creating the formulas. So in this particular case, the second step involves specification of formulas. That means we are trying to find out the interrelationship between the variables. Volume of sales is dependent upon market size. market share, and revenue deals with the sales volume. So similarly, sales volume depends on market, production, variable and fixed cost. So if there is a 10% change in variable cost, अगर मान लीजिए मेरी वेरिएबल कॉस्ट में 10% चेंज है एंड आई हैव इंक्रीज द वेरिएबल कॉस्ट बाय 10%, what is going to be the change in my sales volume because of it? So in the second step, what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to determine the interrelationship between the variables. अलग अलग वेरिएबल्स के बीच में क्या इंटररिलेशनशिप है. नेक्स्ट वी हैव इंडिकेटिंग द प्रोबेबिलिटी डिस्ट्रीब्यूशन. So third step is for each selected variable, right? What is the probability? Some have more probability distribution than others. For example, it is tough to predict the price or market growth with more confidence. You don't know, right? So that is why you say that 10% it is probable that market price will reach 100 rupees. 20% it is probable that market price will reach 300 rupees. 30% it is probable that market price will come down to 50 rupees, right? That way. So probability, high probability distribution means when you do not have much surety about anything, that in that case the probabilities are higher. There can be n number of things in the probability. Okay. So for example, if I am talking about, let's say, market price, right? I do not know what market price is could be. It could be 50 rupees, it could be 100 rupees, it could be 150 rupees likewise. Right? 50 rupees probability is this. So I have more number of items, and that is why I am not very sure that what is going to be the course of market price or what is going to be the pattern that market price is going to follow. ठीक है, मुझे नहीं पता है इस बारे में. Then you have developing a computer program. You have found out the variables, you have found out the interrelationship, right? And then you have also found out the probability distribution. Now finally a computer program will be built, right? And then you will be calculating what is the NPV. Finally, this is the end result that we want to calculate, that what is going to be impact onto my benefit. Okay, मेरे पास at the end of the day what is something that I am getting in my hand. So computer should generate a large number of such scenarios, show and store them. These stored values are then printed as a probability distribution along with the estimated NPV and the standard deviation. The discounting rate, which will be used to calculate the distribution of risk-free rate, as a simulation is used to calculate the project cash flows, the discount rate will show only the time value of money. That means this at this particular discount rate value, that is the minimum return that you will be getting. Okay? But over here, it is only going to show the time value of money, because I told you 100 rupees I am getting today is not similar to 100 rupees I am getting after 5 years, right? There is a time factor involved in it, right? There is inflation involved in it, and that is why we discount it to know what is the present value of the money which I am receiving in my hand. So this is what they are saying over here. So this is it that we will be talking about today: simulation, scenario analysis, sensitivity analysis, and decision tree analysis. Right? Thank you so much for joining in, and these were some of the risk adjustment techniques that we needed to discuss in this particular lecture. Thank you so much for joining in, and if you did like this particular video, do give us a thumbs up. Good night.